This is not another story of tragic love, like that of Romeo and Juliet. Have you ever pondered how many talented, generous, and worthy individuals leave this world prematurely? Some, barely crossing the threshold of their third or fourth decade, suddenly depart from this world. Often, it seems there were no warning signs of the impending calamity. They lived, worked, and made plans for the future, just like everyone else around them. But unexpectedly, misfortune, illness, or criminal acts disrupt the usual flow of life. And those who only yesterday demonstrated remarkable prospects, intelligence, and determination are gone today, trying to find solace or due to helplessness in the face of the situation. People often say that heaven takes the best. It was just such a tragedy that befell the couple Jamie and Peter James. They had no idea about the horror they would have to endure while burying their beloved daughter. On October 26, 2023, around 4:30 am, the principal of St. Andrew's Cathedral School, located in the heart of Sydney, sent an email to all students and their parents. The message stated that the school would be closed until the end of the week due to a critical incident. 2 hours later, troubled families received another piece of news. The administration assured that none of the students were harmed, but the news was still alarming, especially after clarifying that this directive did not apply to graduates taking exams. For those concerned about the situation, psychological support was available. Soon, a 24-hour counseling center began operating in the school library. On Thursday and Friday, forensic experts thoroughly examined the school buildings and the surrounding area. Access to the gym was restricted, and the adjacent shower area was to be demolished. So what horrific event took place within the school walls? Around midnight on October 25, 2023, the body of a woman was found. She was last seen alive at 7 p.m. The water polo coach entered the gym shower and never came out. Surveillance cameras recorded someone following her around 8 in the evening. The pursuer exited alone and headed for the school exit. It was the woman's parents who first raised the alarm about her disappearance. Lilie had been out of contact for the entire day, and at 10 p.m. she sent a message asking to be picked up from work. Fortunately, the police, already informed about the situation, took control of the case. The night watchman, while patrolling the territory, witnessed a horrific scene. The woman was lying on the floor in a pool of blood with her head smashed. Recovering from the initial shock, he immediately called the emergency services. Later, detectives invited a close family friend to identify the body. The woman's face was so disfigured that she could barely be recognized. After the news of her death became public, her house was filled with people. Friends, neighbors, and acquaintances came to support the grieving family. Local residents also expressed their grief and reverence for the prematurely deceased, constantly bringing flowers and toys, turning the area around the house into a kind of memorial. However, this mysterious death turned out to be not the only intrigue in this case. Another tragic loss occurred on October 27th at 8 am, just 18 kilometers from the site of the first crime. The remains of a man were discovered. This sad find was made by vendors working nearby. The body was found on the rocks of the Diamond Bay Reserve, not far from the eastern suburbs of Sydney. After a call to the police, a rescue team was promptly assembled. The operation included the participation of a sapper squad, Marines, and a rescue helicopter. At 3:30 p.m., the man's body was recovered and handed over to forensic experts for identification. Due to injuries sustained from falling from a height, visual identification was impossible, so fingerprints were used for this purpose. At that time, experts already assumed the man's identity, but confirmation was required for certainty. Eventually, the man was identified as 24-year-old Paul Thijssen, a suspect in the crime against Lilie James. Investigators faced a challenging task to find a connection between the two fatal incidents and find out what really happened between these people a few days ago. Lilie was born in May 2002 in the picturesque coastal town of Sans Souci, in New South Wales, Australia. She became the first and most beloved child in the friendly James family. She was especially adored by her maternal grandmother, Barbara. Lilie spent her childhood together with her younger brother Max by the ocean. She was a remarkably active and resilient girl who had a true passion for swimming. Her father, the coach of the water polo team at the Anglican Girls' School in Hurstville, fully supported his daughter's passion. Friends remembered Lilie as a sociable and benevolent person, successful in her studies, and always ready to help those who had difficulties. These qualities made her a favorite of many, and she was never left alone. In high school, thanks to her achievements in academics, sports, and social life, Lilie was recognized as one of the best students. Whatever she undertook, success was always on her side. Her incredible talent for achieving heights in all areas of activity was simply undeniable. Among other things, Lilie had a remarkable interest in dramatic art, which led her to participate in the theater and dance club. Over time, the talented girl was noticed and invited to take part in the famous Woodford Walk Festival, one of the largest annual events in Australia, attended by about 125,000 people, including local, national, and international guests. The event traditionally takes place from December 27th to January 1st, marking the New Year celebration with a wide range of genres and styles, such as circus, cabaret, comedy, street performances, workshops, debates, and more. Lilie decided to present a unique interpretation of a monologue from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. During the performance, her skills, natural charm, and appeal were fully revealed, eliciting unprecedented applause and approval from the jury. She took an honorable second place in the theater category, which was a real triumph and a huge achievement, because she received not only recognition, but also a significant monetary reward. In 2018, the young Miss James added another important point to her collection of achievements. She successfully passed the driver's license test for novice drivers. No less impressive were her sports successes. Following in her father's footsteps, she began professionally engaging in water polo. The athlete won the swimming champion title in the under-17 age category. Her parents were extremely proud of their daughter's successes and enthusiastically celebrated each of her achievements. By the end of high school, Lilie had finally decided on her future life path, choosing to focus on a sports career. Thus, in 2020, she entered the University of Technology Sydney to obtain a bachelor's degree in sports business management. In 2021, a fateful meeting took place in her life. Wanting to diversify her student life and gain teaching experience, she took a job as a water polo coach at St. Andrew's Cathedral School. Thanks to her youth, vibrant personality, and sincere love for sports, she quickly found common ground, not only with colleagues and administration, but also with students. They were drawn to her, trying to meet the high standards she set. And she, in turn, made every effort to find a unique approach to each student and unlock their special talents. It was during this period that Lilie met the new cricket and hockey coach, Paul Thijssen. With his professional skills and attractive appearance, he instantly drew the attention of those around him. An ambitious young man, in addition to his main job, he also taught part-time at another educational institution and was a member of the hockey team at the University of New South Wales. Paul, without a doubt, was popular, especially among the female audience. However, opinions about him were mixed. Some described him as arrogant and stubborn, while others noted his positive traits. Initially, the interaction between Lilie and Paul was friendly and limited to mutual greetings, but later it grew into something more. Lilie's friends said that one day the young man asked her out on a date. Given Paul's charming smile, it was not easy for her to resist, and she agreed. The date made a great impression on both of them, and they decided to meet again. Not suspecting with whom she was starting a relationship, Lilie, thanks to her kindness and openness, fell in love. It seemed that Paul reciprocated her feelings. He showered her with compliments, gave her flowers, and arranged romantic evenings. At that moment, the young couple agreed that no one at school, especially the students, should know about their relationship. This was a requirement of school policy and Lilie's personal beliefs. She never wanted her personal life to be on display. Therefore, the couple behaved cautiously at work. However, over time, rumors began to spread. At first, a timid whisper turned into open discussion. When Lilie found out who had revealed their relationship, she was deeply disappointed. It turned out that Paul had violated their agreement. Moreover, the way he described her drew condemnation from the young employee. Lilie felt betrayed and humiliated, so she openly told Paul everything she thought about him and ended the relationship. Later, it became known that Paul had made attempts to reconcile and repeatedly apologized, but Lilie was adamant. The only consolation for her was that their relationship was short-lived, and during this time she managed to see his true nature. Paul was born in 1999 in the Netherlands. The Thijssen family moved to Australia in 2015 when the head of the family was transferred to a new position. It is worth noting that his parents were wealthy and well-known in certain circles. Being an only child, Paul received a lot of attention and care from his family, which undoubtedly influenced the formation of his character. He grew up spoiled and egocentric, knew his worth, achieved success in his studies, and was actively involved in sports. His impressive physique immediately caught the eye. After moving, Paul entered St. Andrew's Cathedral School, where he joined the cricket team. He achieved significant success, earning the recognition and respect of his peers. Over time, he was appointed team captain. He also actively participated in extracurricular activities and festivals, helping with their organization. It was then that opinions about him began to diverge. Some guys disliked their overly self-confident peer, who claimed he could win the heart of any girl. However, girls found the young man charming and sociable. After graduating from school in 2017, the administration offered him to stay as an assistant coach for cricket and hockey. He gladly accepted this offer. At the beginning of 2018, he was already in charge of these sections. It should be said that he felt confident in his position and successfully coped with his managerial duties. Eventually, Paul quit and returned home to his family. The reason for his sudden departure remains unknown. Upon returning home, he decided to continue his education and obtained a master's degree in sports management. In a conversation with old friends, he mentioned that he had improved his coaching skills, which soon led to a lucrative offer from his former employer. At the beginning of 2020, the doors of the familiar school opened again for him. Returning to Australia, Paul met an old friend who offered to share housing costs. The young man agreed, finding shared living more pleasant, although he could afford to rent housing alone. Affordable rental housing was located in Kensington, an eastern suburb of Sydney. At first, the friends got along well, relaxing together in bars after work. However, after a few months, a conflict arose, and the hot-tempered Paul decided to live alone. Paul's parents admitted that despite being busy and constantly surrounded by people, their son felt lonely. They knew nothing about his romantic relationships, although they suspected that he had no serious interest in love. In March 2020, an unexpected event occurred that affected both the national and global levels. Due to the outbreak of the coronavirus, Australia declared a state of emergency and imposed severe quarantine restrictions for 18 months. Paul was left to himself, unable to leave the country due to the risk of infection to see his family. Large-scale restrictions affected all spheres of life, forcing Paul to cope with difficulties on his own. By the summer of 2021, life was gradually returning to normal, but it turned out that isolation had significantly affected interpersonal relationships. When Paul resumed his former duties, some began to notice changes in his character and behavior. He quickly returned to the whirlwind of sports life and became a key player on the hockey team, continuing to lead an active lifestyle and even appearing in promotional videos for matches. At the same time, acquaintances noted traits that they had not previously noticed in him, such as uncontrolled outbursts of anger. In addition, rumors spread at school about his special interest in female students. The young coach repeatedly flirted with girls, often watching them for a long time, making them blush and feel uncomfortable. However, he was still considered a significant figure. His performances had a significant impact on the team's advancement to the finals of the Australian Hockey League. When Lilie ended their relationship, it was a blow to his ego. When investigators began investigating the case, there was no doubt about Paul's involvement. They quickly got on the trail of the culprit. Surveillance cameras, both inside and outside, played an important role in this case. The young man carelessly got into their field of view several times. Inquiries were also made to the company that serviced Lilie and Paul's mobile communications. The police needed to determine his last known location, so they decided to track the suspect using GPS. They also sought to find the victim's phone, hoping that the messages it contained could shed light on what happened. After some time, the locations of the devices were established. Moreover, by restoring the sequence of events, it was discovered that Paul had purchased a hammer at a hardware store a couple of days before the attack. Apparently, he was very angry with the girl and decided to confront her in this way. Although her innocence in the situation seemed obvious, events unfolded in the following sequence. On the morning of October 25th, Lilie went to university and then to work. At the same time, her ex-boyfriend rented a silver Lexus and headed to the school. Since he had no classes, he did not enter the building but lurked in the car. After all the students left the premises, the perpetrator headed to the gym. To avoid having to carry the hammer in plain sight, he hid it under his jacket. Arriving at the crime scene, Paul watched Lilie's movements. After finishing training, she decided to freshen up and headed to the shower. Taking advantage of the moment when she was most vulnerable, the criminal followed her. An argument broke out, during which Paul attacked her and hit her on the head. Pathologists confirmed that death was instantaneous. She did not suffer. After waiting an hour, the young man collected the girl's personal belongings in a backpack and left the building. Outside, he got into the car and drove to Diamond Bay, where he disposed of the murder weapon by throwing it into a trash container. He was recorded by surveillance cameras on the premises at 8:47 p.m. Paul's last known location, established by investigators, was at the Gap, a cliff on the southern coast, in the suburbs of Sydney. Known to many as both a tourist spot and a place of frequent suicides. Around 10 p.m., Paul sent a message to Mark James from Lilie's phone, probably to lead to the discovery of the girl's body. Perhaps he regretted what he had done and hoped for help, or he was simply informing the parents of their daughter's whereabouts. Obviously, they were alarmed, as evidenced by the numerous calls to the phone. An hour later, the young man made a short emergency call but changed his mind and hung up. After that, he made a decision he had long been pondering. He took a step into the abyss and ended his life. Arriving at the Cape, the police did not find the young man, but came across the personal belongings of the former lovers. The rented car was found nearby. Everything indicated that the young man was dead. Perhaps he could not cope with the guilt or did not want to face the consequences of his actions. In any case, the primary task was to find his body. On October 26th, at 9 a.m., police helicopters and boats arrived at the scene. The entire coastline was under close guard, and the area around Diamond Bay was cordoned off. However, the first day of searching did not yield the desired results. By chance, the young man's body was washed up on the rocks in the reserve only the next day. After an autopsy and thorough examination, Paul was officially declared responsible for the death of Lilie James. However, it was impossible to bring him to justice, so the criminal case had to be closed. His body was later handed over to his parents, who decided not to send him back to the Netherlands, but to cremate him and scatter the ashes here in Sydney. The farewell to Lilie took place on November 17, 2023, at her former school in Hurstville. Approximately 500 people came to say goodbye to their beloved relative, friend, and coach. At that moment, grief united all those present. The school administration arranged for a live broadcast of the ceremony. It is especially worth noting that the girl's family asked the guests not to wear dark clothes, but to give preference to bright colors, as they were convinced that this is what Lilie would have wanted. She was a lively, energetic, creative, and unique personality, so a gloomy outfit would not have been to her liking. Many warm and sincere words were said about her. In response, the James family expressed heartfelt gratitude to all those who were with them during these difficult days for their support and help. At the entrance to the building, students and colleagues created a temporary memorial in honor of their beloved Lilie. Her favorite flowers and farewell letters were placed nearby as a tribute of respect and honor. A video of Lilie performing a monologue from Macbeth was published on the school's website. After clarifying all the circumstances of the innocent girl's death, the school administration sent another letter to the students' parents. In it, they expressed sincere apologies to everyone affected by this tragedy. The principal assured that the crime came as a surprise to everyone and would not happen again. Understandably, many were concerned that the place where children should feel safe had become the epicenter of a violent act. The administration urged everyone to treat this incident as an exceptional case and continue their education with renewed vigor. Later, a meeting was organized with the renowned forensic psychologist Tim Watson Monroe, who has many years of experience analyzing the minds of both criminals and victims. He was asked to speak and analyze Paul's behavior. The expert assured that Paul's actions are typical for people with an inflated self-esteem who are unable to accept rejection. He believed that Paul committed the crime not under the influence of emotions, but deliberately and in cold blood. He did what he wanted and showed no remorse. When asked why the young man took his own life, Mr. Watson Monroe suggested that the criminal sought to avoid responsibility and shame. Overall, he characterized Paul as a self-absorbed personality with psychopathic tendencies. He also noted that some compare these events to the finale of Shakespeare's famous tragedy, Romeo and Juliet. However, the story of Lilie and Paul differs from the story of the main characters of the play and forms a completely new narrative plot. In true love, there is no place for pride and untruth, not to mention deception and betrayal. Unfortunately, Paul could not understand this and appreciate the person who was beside him. Putting his wounded ego first, he forever extinguished the life of the girl who brought light. At the same time, he inflicted unbearable pain, not only on Lilie's parents, but also on his loved ones. Unfortunately, for all the care and attention he received, he repaid them with bitter regrets.
I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if the story resonated with you. Until next time, friends.